Like your mind take until you speak, babe. 'Cause I can't live my life without you.
Hi, welcome to or welcome back to another live of Let's Talk Sister to Sister. I am one of your hosts, Carlonda,
And I'm Nikki.
and today we are going to kind of reintroduce ourselves a little bit for anyone who is new to our channel and just kind of reintroduce why we are doing this podcast. And then today we're going to get into faith, forgiveness, and healing. So, we decided we both have a history of growing up in the foster care system. So that was the main reason why we started this podcast, Let's Talk Sister to Sister. We wanted to share our stories and our experiences so that we can provide awareness to the public about what the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to the foster care system. We realized that there is a very high failure rate with kids that leave the foster care system. So we want to bring awareness to this, but we also awareness to this issue, but we also want to bring hope and inspiration to youth who are currently in foster care and the youth that are exiting foster care as well, that they can also be successful. So our goal here is to bring awareness and hopefully increase those number of success stories for kiddos that are leaving the system. Nikki, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I'm just so excited to be on this healing journey with you.
Hmm.
And just like you said, just to get our stories out here because we have a lot to share. And, our stories and stories like ours are not talked about enough. Um,
Hmm.
there's so much that has transpired in the foster care system and what goes on in there that's not talked about. So I'm just excited that we are comfortable and we have this safe space to share our story and, let others know about it and just encourage those, like you said, that are currently in that situation and that will soon be exiting that, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And yes, it will take work and support, but with that, you can get through it just like we did. So I'm excited.
Yes, same here. And like you mentioned, earlier. I feel like this is healing for both of us, and hopefully will inspire healing for others as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So today we're going to get into faith, forgiveness, and healing. Nikki, can you kind of share a little? I want to go ahead. You get started because I know you've gone on done a lot of healing, going through what you've been through, and then of course, just how did that walk of forgiveness look for you?
Yeah, so I mean, the journey really started, so just backstory. So, Carlonda and I, we were introduced to the foster care system at a very young age.
Mhm.
Um, and I was an infant. So, Carlonda, you were,
I was a toddler.
yeah.
Yeah, we were in
So,
diapers.
yeah. And so just not having that relationship with our bio mom,
Mhm.
as I got older, that question just stood out to me. Why? Like, why didn't my mother want me?
Mhm.
And basically learning that forgiveness is something that we have to choose for our own healing,
Mhm.
not because someone earns it or anything, So, like I said, most part of my life, especially now that I'm older and I'm wiser and I understand more,
Mhm.
the question that I have is like, why didn't my biological mom want me?
Mhm.
You know?
That's something that I've struggled with as well. I feel like, I mean, even today, it's still hard to fathom because we're moms ourselves.
Right.
And so I
Right.
look at that and I'm like, how do you just check out and
Yes.
live your life kid free, knowing that you have children walking around somewhere and you're just not, are you not concerned or?
Exactly. I mean, like even now, I've started all the way over with, and now I have a toddler, and so
Mhm.
it's like I can't even if he's away, for more than a couple of hours, I'm texting wherever he's at. Hey, how's everything
Mhm.
going? Is he okay? Like I can't just go a whole day without thinking about him. So, and who knows how long that our mother, was going through that or did that before it was reported, you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, but and then just being raised by someone who's not my biological mom. Um, but one thing that I will say and that I appreciate about her is that she never lied. Um,
Mhm.
the family member that I was raised by, like I knew from an early age that she was not my biological mother. And that is something that I can appreciate, especially now we see um, people that are adopted or that's not living with their bio family. Um, a lot of families think that it's okay to just keep that away from them and, oh, we don't
Mhm.
have to tell them until they're older. Da, da, da.
Mhm.
And that creates, I think, so much damage. And so that's one thing
Mhm.
that I appreciate from the individual that raised me is that she let me know from
Right.
the get-go. Like I remember her saying like, you're adopted, your real mom is, doing whatever. And so I did appreciate that. But growing up wasn't easy. There's a lot of psychological abuse, physical abuse,
Mhm.
verbal abuse as a child. And I thought, I didn't have a choice but to accept it, really. Like I felt like I had no one that I could cry out to, no one that would listen to me, no one that would believe me.
Mhm.
Um, and so that was very, very tough. I didn't have anyone else to go to. And so as kids, we are we are wired to normalize it, right? Normalize what we're exposed to, and we don't know any different. You
Right. Right.
Okay, I've been doing this for so long. Okay, then this must be right.
Mhm.
But now I look back at it, and it's I I was surviving. I wasn't living. I was just getting by. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, just with that, it's just mind blowing. It's just like, you know what? I was just surviving. Like I was just getting through a day. Okay,
Mhm.
I went through that day. Now let's wake up and let's try to do it again. You
And I
know?
can definitely relate to that, just being in survivor mode going through the system. I wanted to ask you, did you ever find yourself having like a deep-seated hatred for our biological mom
You know,
or being just seriously angry
I
at
I'm
her?
I wasn't I don't want to say a hate. My question was just I just wanted to understand why.
Mhm.
Like I just wanted to understand why and like if she knew or if she had any idea what I was going through as a child. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like, did she know the abuse? Like, could I have been better off living with our bio mom? Like, could we have been better off living with our bio mom
Mhm.
instead of the placements that we were a part of? So I wouldn't say hate. Um, I would just say disappointed, and just like I said, that question is just why.
See, I think that's where my first journey of forgiveness comes in because I actually hated this woman. I saw her as the cause of my pain.
Mm,
I'm going through all of this abuse, verbal, mental, sexual, emotional. I'm being bounced from placement to placement. I'm being separated from my siblings. I'm just going through it. And I saw her as the person that was the cause of this. And I just looked at it as you got to check out, and I'm here suffering, you know? And so a part of me because our bio mom was killed when we were kids. So
Mhm.
after being in the foster care system for a few years, I find that out. And to me, that was more. It was disappointing for a couple of reasons. One, there was no closure.
Mhm.
So I didn't didn't get to ask any questions and try
Yeah.
to seek forgiveness that route. I think that's when the anger really started to set in because I still have a few more years to go in this system, and I'm still going through all this pain. And I went through the phase of trauma where you just want to kill somebody for what they did to you. And I literally felt like that. Like I actually wanted to kill this woman. I would tell people, I'm a teenager at this point. I would tell people if this woman wasn't dead, I would kill her myself. And people
Mm.
would say, "Oh, you don't really mean?" I'm like, "No, I really do."
Oh, wow.
And a part of that, like a part of me feels like, well, it was a blessing in disguise that she, was killed because I don't think I would have been able to exercise restraint if I had saw her after my 18th birthday. So it took a while, it took a lot for me to get from a place of feeling like that to a place, a few years after getting out of the system where I could forgive her and empathize to a
Mhm.
certain degree because I realized that at the time that we were taken, I mean, this was somebody with no resources, no education, no stable home life of her own. And so I would imagine trying to take care of three little ones and still in diapers at the age of 18 would be, to be a struggle would be an understatement,
Right.
right? So I was able to begin to empathize. And then another part that helped me on my forgiveness journey was that I actually did find my biological dad. And so I finding him was kind of an outlet because I was like, oh, okay, so maybe I can get a little bit of closure here, get some answers.
Mhm.
Finally, at least I have one person that I can do that with. And then I found myself because I mean, I really that was my intention. Like, oh, okay, get some answers, get some closure. But then I found myself realizing, hey, I have a lot of anger towards this person too. And
Mm.
so I would just rail in on him with all my anger and my frustration for all the years of the hurt and the pain that I had dealt with. And it took a few years for me to finally get to a place where I could have some peace with him and forgive him. And I'm grateful for that because, it got to a point where he could meet my husband now, my kids now, and see, the young lady that I had become versus just seeing me angry at him all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And so when you were raging at him, how did he respond to that? Like, was he accepting? Did he understand why, or did he become defensive? Like, how was that conversation or conversations?
He understood, he realized that it was a long time coming. And I
Mhm.
remember he would say that sometimes he wished our mom was around so she could take some of the heat off of him. Cause like he's like, oh man, I'm the only one taking it right now,
Mhm.
And but he understood like he was the only one there that could, kind of take that heat at the moment. But he did understand, and he would try to explain things. And it's funny because like I'm looking for closure, right? I'm looking for answers, but
Mhm.
the answers weren't satisfying to me.
Yeah.
I'm like none of this sounds like justification for the pain that I
Yeah.
went through.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just it's not adding up.
Right.
Something there had to be something else. You're leaving something out because there's
Yeah.
no way that is just it. And so I think that was another thing that really just kind of fuels my anger even more.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Well, I'm glad that you were able to get that outlet. Like, I mean, I don't know my biological dad. I've never had a father figure, so I still have unanswered questions.
Mhm.
I have no closure, and and the one closure route that I did have was our grandmother, and she's passed on. So,
Mhm.
and I feel like that was the person that I was probably closest maybe to our mom was her
Mhm.
mom and her
Mhm.
siblings. But we know that everybody was out doing their own thing. So even when our grandmother was living, I would, ask, and she would share some things. But like you said, like I wanted more. I wanted to
Mhm.
get deep, and it seems like nobody wanted to get deep with me.
Mhm.
Like y'all knew her,
Mhm.
I didn't, and so I'm trying to get to know her and try to understand what was going on through her mind to why she, like, you know, um, did you try to come and find us? Did you
Mhm.
ask where we were? I don't remember any visitations. Did you willingly sign over your rights? Or were you trying to take the steps to get us back?
Mhm.
So, I, um, I don't know if I can say, like I said earlier, I don't have hatred, but I also don't know if I could say if I can forgive her because I don't know
Mhm.
the effort. I don't know if you took effort. What steps did you take?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's kind of challenging for me. And like me growing up, like us growing up separate, like I felt like I did not have a voice. And like most teenagers, like I wanted the simple things in life. I wanted to go to the movies, go to the mall, celebrate birthdays, Christmas,
Mhm.
date, like be a normal teenager, and none of those things were allowed. Because when we talk about our growing up, and healing and faith and stuff, like I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. A
Mhm.
family member that raised me, like she was a Jehovah's Witness, and so that added to me another layer of control. Because
Mhm.
if you know anything about them, like they don't do nothing. Like there's no freedom, there's no celebration of anything.
Mhm.
If you want a relationship with someone outside of the congregation or outside of the witness, like then they're considered worldly, and they're not. Like they're not, we're better than them, so we're just,
Mhm.
and so that was hard. And so as a child, I didn't get to choose anything.
Mhm.
I'm saying, and so I remember, like, I had to have been like 13 or 14. I was in the eighth grade,
Mhm.
and I wanted to be a cheerleader. Like that was something that I really wanted to do. That movie Bring It On had came out a couple
Mhm.
years before, and I was like, yep, I want to do that. And I remember like going to the meetings and people in the congregation like finding out, and people coming up to me and it's like, that you can't do that, and telling, like, quoting a scripture, bad
Mhm.
associations spoil useful habits. And but for the first time, I didn't really care because I'm like, this is something that I want, and so I'm gonna do it. And so for me, it was like as long as I can make the meetings, after the football games and practices, like I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that was the first time I think that I realized that I wanted something different in my life. And that's when I begin to question everything as far as my faith and growing up, like being in the
Mhm.
witness congregation for
Mhm.
for those years. It's just like,
Mhm.
okay, is this really what I want to do?
Mhm.
Is having a relationship with somebody telling me who I can and cannot talk to, what I can and cannot do on my free time, things of that sort. I can only
Mhm.
associate with people within the congregation. I was just like, yeah, no, that's not what I want. And so I made the decision. I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. And so, like, as time went on, I slowly but surely stopped going. Also, too, like the family member that I was with, like I said, she was very abusive. And
Mhm.
I remember one Sunday going to the Kingdom Hall, and right before the meeting, she had gave me a whooping, and the belt hit my eye, and so I had a web on my eye. And I know people at the Kingdom Hall saw it, but not once did someone question her,
Mhm. Mhm.
what happened. You know
Right.
what I mean? So it's kind of like you turn a blind eye to certain things or whatever. And I don't know if they were intimidated by her or what, but it's just like at that time, like I felt like I wasn't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
physically have a mark on me and no one's questioning,
Right. How did you get it?
how did I get it?
How
Am
did
I
you
okay?
know?
Anything.
Right. And I can, and it's funny that you mentioned that whole Jehovah's Witness experience because I had some of that growing up too. And that, between that and just kind of being exposed to different religions, including Jehovah's Witness, different churches, I, found myself just confused on what to believe in. And I had a similar experience living in a household with somebody who was Jehovah's Witness as well. The woman who adopted me was a Jehovah's Witness as well. And, I don't, and that was where I experienced the most abuse,
Mm,
and I don't know if there's a connection there. I don't know if that's, I was very young, so I don't know if that's something to do with, their how they teach their people to discipline their kids. I don't know, but
mm,
I can definitely relate to kind of that lack of freedom because I feel like the longer we were there, me and our other sister Alicia, the longer we were there, it was less freedom. It was like she would up the antics of abuse and isolation. We went
mm,
from, by the time we left, when we were finally left at home, we were being homeschooled as an effort for her to hide the abuse that, because I think we had already experienced, a trip to the emergency room. So I think she was really trying to get it to where we can just be completely isolated. So I understand that, and just having that exposure, also
mhm,
again just different churches, that I think that started my journey of just confusion about faith and God and who God is, because from my experience, the people who were claiming Jesus the most, were the ones we were experiencing the most hurt and the most pain. Everything from being forced to sleep on the floor with the roaches and the mice crawling to trips to the emergency room, where this is all under the roofs of people who were claiming Jesus,
mm,
right?
mm,
Once I finally left those homes and I went to another home, another foster home, this was a couple, they weren't even married. They were just boyfriend, girlfriend living together. Uh, No one claimed Jesus, never heard Jesus spoken, never saw a Bible. We never went to church. These people could have been atheists for all I know. But I know that they treated me better than all the people who were claiming Jesus.
mhm,
And so I think at a young age, that's when it really started. I started to question, you know, do you really need God?
mhm.
No. I mean, is this guy really good? Because these people over here are claiming this God, and I don't know, they're pretty awful to me, but these people aren't claiming him at all, and they're really nice to me. They're actually treating
Yeah,
him like a
yeah,
person,
yeah, yeah,
and then I would go on to another home, same thing. We never went to church, no one never saw any scriptures around the house anywhere, never saw a Bible, no one ever quoted a scripture. It was as if Jesus didn't even exist. But again, and these people, I don't know if they were atheists, I don't know what they were, but I was treated well. And so I think those are the early seeds that were being planted in me of not knowing, if this God is really good or really, how to pursue a relationship with God. And then, of course, I would continue on in my journey and I would move to homes where they would go to this church or that church or not no church at all. And so it was just years and years of kind of back and forth. I'm here with somebody who doesn't go to church. I'm here with somebody who does go to church. I'm here with somebody who does believe. I'm here with somebody who doesn't believe. So by the time I get out on my own, I don't even know what to think. I don't know what to believe. I don't, so
yep,
I
yep.
don't have that as a foundation. As when once I leave, like there is no religious, or godly relationship foundation for me once I leave the system.
Wow, wow, and like even like when you said when you talk about the home that the homes that you go to when you didn't see a Bible, they didn't talk about God. They did talk about prayer.
Mhm.
And those that's
No prayer, no
where
nothing. Just
yeah, that's where you were the most happiest. Like that's
mhm.
what, you
Yep.
know. And so, that's kind of like the same thing with me. It's like, these people, these witnesses are like preaching, like, oh, we're the best, we're going to be here for you, and blah, 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 this and that.
Mhm.
And it's just like, but no, that wasn't the case because as time passed and I got older, I slowly stopped attending because I saw right through them. I was like, I know this is not what I want for myself. And around that same time, um, my mom that raised me got sick, like
Mhm.
really sick. And she was in and out the hospital. And yes, friends of the congregation would visit her and periodically, like they'll check on us and, because we were at home by ourselves. Like
Mhm.
I'm, I'm probably in middle school when all this is going on. So anywhere between sixth and ninth grade is when my mom got really, really, really sick. And one thing that I remember is that one time she was in the hospital, and so the family member that raised me, she was baptized, so she was a true Jehovah's Witness. Like she called herself a Jehovah's Witness because she was baptized into the congregation. And one of the rules is like you can't receive blood.
Mm.
And my mom was sick, and I remember there was this little card that she used to always carry around that said no blood. So every time she went to the hospital, she would tell them no blood. And I'm just like, but that blood can save your life.
Right.
So you letting these people dictate if you live or if you die.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
that wasn't um that wasn't easy for me. And just watching her decline right before my eyes was just, mind-boggling. And then also just watching members of that congregation just disappear. Like I said, the
Mm.
calls stopped, the checking in on us stopped.
Mm.
Just over time, I would just notice. And there was
Mhm.
um, a time where we lost everything to a house fire,
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
And my mom had to start over. At this time, my mom wasn't even able to breathe on her own. Okay,
Mhm.
like she had to have oxygen 24/7. And there was a few people in between that helped us. I can count
Mhm.
uh on how many people like legitimately checked on us during that time. And then after a while, like she passed away. And no one, and this is so heartbreaking, no one in that congregation attended her celebration of life service.
Wow.
And no one called and said, hey, do you need help planning?
Mm.
I'm in high school by this time when she passed. So I don't know where to start on planning a funeral. Like,
Mhm.
none of that. So, but no one asked, hey, do you need anything? Where's the service gonna be?
Mhm.
Anything, nothing like that. And so
Mhm.
after that, I really like checked out because you guys, I don't need you to pray for me. I
Right.
don't need you to come and study with me. I don't need you to come and do anything with me because you weren't there when I needed you the most. This lady, this person that I know, the only person that I know as a mom, just passed away, and y'all was nowhere to be found.
Mm. Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and pause right there. That was deep. Let's go ahead and pause right there and let's get back into it here in just a minute.
All right.
You gave me the feeling, feeling in my life. So did I realize you're the highest of the high. If you don't know, then I'll say it. So don't ever wonder. Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small. Look for me. DJ discretion. What you know about me? What you know about me? What you know about me? What you know? My lip gloss is popping. My lip gloss is too. All the boys keep jocking. They chase me at the school.
Okay, welcome back. So, Nikki, as on our break, I was just thinking, and I wanted to kind of piggyback off of some things you mentioned earlier. So it sounds like these Jehovah's Witness congregation, you didn't really see them as like the hands and feet of Jesus during the time that y'all were in need. You know,
Mhm.
whenever you say you lost everything in the house fire, your mom, the one that raised you, passed away. You didn't really see them in that active role of like being Jesus' hand and feet. So you felt kind of let down in a
Mhm.
sense by them. And I can totally relate to that. I feel like I is when I got older, that's when I learned that, we're supposed to see the love of Jesus through people, like
Yeah.
through his
Yeah.
followers. And so that would explain why my view of Jesus was so skewed because the people that I was being raised by in the system who were claiming Jesus, every Sunday and Wednesday in church. They were raising hell at the house whenever they weren't at the church. And so I wasn't seeing the love of Jesus through them. They were literal hypocrites. And
Mhm.
so that was just a concept that I just couldn't grasp. And throughout that entire, foster care journey. And then, of course, I struggled with it once I got on my own. So I don't know. Did you ever kind of feel that way as well?
Yeah, I mean, I know like in the Jehovah's Witness, like one thing that I still say to this day is like as long as you're doing what they want you to do, you can have any and everything that you want. And
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be there for you. They're gonna, bend over backwards for you. But that moment that you do something that they don't approve of, that's when they cut
Mm-hmm.
you off. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like like even down to the clothes that you wear. And I remember talking to my friends that were witnesses as well, and then some that were not. It's just like they tried to tell us like what to wear and how long this needs to be and blah 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 and this and that, and I'm just like, look, you don't buy my clothes, so until you start contributing to my wardrobe,
Mm-hmm.
tell me what to wear and how to wear it. I wasn't coming in there with club attire or anything like that, but just because it wasn't to their liking, they had a
Mm-hmm.
problem with it. And I just never like um I just never understood that.
It's almost sounds cult like
Yes.
to a certain degree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
and I didn't realize that until I got much older. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you guys are y'all's own cult. Like
Mm-hmm.
and even now I'm respectful, but I keep the conversation at minimum because they still do the door to door, they still
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
so
remember that.
yeah, so mm-mm, mm-mm.
Yeah.
So
And it
but
wasn't until I got a little older, getting closer to the time for me to exit care. Now, I mean, I didn't realize it then at the moment, but as I'm an adult now, I can look back and realize, okay, you know, on my journey in this system, God did introduce some people that were actually walking the walk of following Jesus and doing his work. So I did, I can say that I did come into homes with people who were actually claiming Jesus and actually living it.
mhm.
So so now I can say that I have the experience of living with both, but at the time, of course, I didn't see that. And so I still exit care with all of this confusion, not sure what to believe in, not sure,
Oh yeah.
the way I looked at it was like, well, I'm supposed to worship this guy because if I don't, I'm gonna go to hell. That was
Mhm.
the extent of what I knew,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. and
Yep.
what I thought. And so that alone wasn't enough to sway me enough to pursue God on my own, or and so I just found myself really lost and just kind of doing my own thing and just not sure what to do. I
Yeah,
never
and
explored any other religions or anything. I just wasn't sure what to do.
there was a time like when I left the Jehovah's Witness altogether, like I wasn't attending, like I wasn't actively attending church because I
Mhm.
was so exhausted from everything that I had been through. It was like I don't even want to try just yet.
Right.
It took me a while to really like get back into trying to find a church home.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, and that kind of like goes into forgiveness, like that we're
Mhm.
talking about. Is just like for years I carried so much anger, and not only because of the abuse, but because I didn't feel protected. Like,
Mhm.
I've never felt protected. Um, and as my mom that raised me, as her health declined, like I had a conversation with myself and I said, I don't want her to leave the earth. How you said earlier, you had hatred for our birth mom.
Mhm.
I had that towards the family member that raised me.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't want her to pass on and believing that I, you know, I just hated her.
Mhm.
Um, and so we, we had our final heart to heart conversation, one of our final heart to heart conversations. And I just told her how I felt
Mhm.
because there was a situation that happened in middle school to where she actually put me in the hospital.
Mhm.
And she didn't put me there. I went because of her. And it was actually because of a neighbor said, like, hey, you need to take Nikki to the hospital to make sure she's okay. And it was only because of that neighbor that she agreed to take me. And
Mhm.
so going to the hospital, just having to lie for this family member, just so she won't get in trouble and then I won't enter back into care. And since that night, our relationship has just been that awkwardness,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know? It was just awkward. And so we finally had our heart to heart talk about that just a few years later after that situation had happened. And her health was rapidly declining. Um, I told her like, I forgive you. Like we don't have to talk about what happened. We both know what happened.
Mhm.
We were both there over the
Mhm.
years. Out of everything that transpired, we were both there. So we don't
Mhm.
have to talk about all the abuse. We don't have to talk about, event
Mhm.
by event. Um, just know that I forgive you. And within days, she passed away after that. And
Mhm.
um, forgiveness isn't easy, and it doesn't come
Mhm.
easy. And
Mhm.
it didn't erase the pain, it didn't erase the memories, but
Mhm.
it didn't heal my heart. But it did give us both peace, right? And
Mhm.
I prayed about it over and over and over and over, um, because I know I couldn't do it on my own. But I'm glad that
Mhm.
I did because, like I said, once we had that heart-to-heart conversation and she knew that I forgave her, she was able
Mhm.
to, lay to rest in peace.
Right.
Um, and so I am forever grateful for that. Um, so when we talk about forgiveness, it's like it's not easy to do. Like it took me years.
Mhm.
And as you know, too, like your situations
Mhm.
and your experiences that you've dealt with and how you feel towards our birth mom and things like that. And so um, yeah. But over time, I just feel like um for me, one of the hardest things to admit is that abuse became familiar.
Mhm.
It became very familiar. The woman who raised me would hurt me during the day and then tell me that she loved me at night.
Mhm.
And so when I entered relationships, I accepted behavior that I should never accepted.
Mm,
Physical abuse, disrespect, cheating, over. And every time it was, I love you.
mm,
And so for me, it's like, oh, well, this is familiar. You treat me like shit and you tell me that you love me.
mm,
Good.
mm,
It's like, what's the problem? Um, because that's what love looked like to me
mm,
for the longest. And so until I realized that that wasn't love, it was just trauma repeating itself.
mm,
In some kind of way, I had to break that. And I think that you can probably relate to that as well, just
mm,
because in the stage of life that we're in now,
mm.
it's, you know, I know your husband jokes about like how we're the same,
Right.
and things like that, but it's just because of our experiences and the things that we've been through, and no one really understands that except for us.
Right, right. Yeah, trauma does have a way of finding its way in your personal relationships. And I have been fortunate to have someone that's been able to love me through my pain and really help me just like really face like the deep rooted issue, because I mean, once I left care, all that stuff didn't stay back there. It came with me. All that trauma, all that hurt, all that pain came with me, and I carried that around for years, not really dealing with it on a deep, deep level, not really being truly honest with myself. And then once I finally became really honest with myself, I realized I hated myself. And I
Mm,
had been taught to hate myself. I had been told, whether directly or indirectly, that I was basically worthless, useless. No
yep.
one wanted me. It was apparent that that must have been true because I was bouncing around from placement to placement. So clearly, no one wanted me. So it was really easy to just buy into all of those, what is, now lies. But to me at the time, they felt like truth because it seemed like everything that every negative thing that everyone's telling me about myself was factual. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. My mom and my dad aren't around. I don't have any family members that are looking for me. Yeah, I guess you're right. No one does want me. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I am. I guess I am stupid. Yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, it makes sense, right? So, I dealt with a lot of self abuse, if you will. I didn't find myself in abusive relationships. I found myself abusing myself, just, talking to myself in ways that I wouldn't talk to anybody else that I care about. But apparently it was acceptable to me. It was okay to talk to myself that way. And it wasn't until over time that I realized that it's not acceptable to talk to yourself that way either.
Mm-hmm.
So, you shouldn't treat yourself that way either. But I had learned that at a very young age because that's the way I was taught to.
Right.
That's the way I was
Right.
treated. And so I
Right.
was just basically treating myself the way I had been treated for so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. No, I completely um agree with you right there because I had the same messages told to me as well. Like, you're not gonna be anything. You're gonna be just
Mhm,
like your mom. You're gonna be out on the
mhm,
streets. You're
mhm,
worthless. Like, no one's gonna want you. No one's gonna love you. And
mhm,
so for like you said, like it just gets stuck up here.
mhm,
And it's like, yeah, that is true. You know. Um, and so I've always struggled with
mhm,
self-esteem. I've always felt like I wasn't enough. And I still feel like I'm not enough.
mhm,
Yes, I have a good support team. I have people around me that love and adore me. I have
mhm,
my kids. I have my career. But at the end of the day, it's like I still struggle with that, like
mhm,
feeling like that I am enough. Um,
mhm,
and eventually, like, I mean, even for me, like, eventually I had to make a choice, and
mhm,
not only for myself, but at the time, like when I left my first unhealthy relationship, I had to think about
mhm,
my daughter.
mhm,
And I refuse to allow her to believe that abuse equals love. And
mhm,
now as a mother of three, like I refuse also for or any of my children to think that abuse equals love,
Hmm.
and that pain is normal, and just breaking that generational cycle isn't easy. But someone has to decide where it ends, and I'm going to be the
Hmm.
one that decides that it ends here, um, and that I'm not going to put up with it for me and with my children. And so, now today I rely heavily on my faith. I pray constantly. I surround myself with people who encourage healing instead of the hurt. And faith, didn't erase my past, but it gave me hope for my future. And it continues to give me hope for my future. Like we said earlier, like we're never going to forget where we came from. We're never going
Hmm.
to forget those experiences. We're never going to forget those sleepless nights. We're never going to be, forgetful of being separated from each other all of those years. However, we can use we can use our experiences for it to not to deter our future.
Right.
And that's truly what I believe in. And like healing is a journey, and people ask often, it's like, are you healed? And my question is, I'm healing.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
I'm not who I'm used to be. I'm not who I was yesterday. I'm not who I was 2 months ago.
Hmm.
I'm not who I am 3 years ago. Uh,
Mm.
I still have these walls built up. I don't know if they ever coming down, but because they still up. I
Hmm.
still struggle with forgiveness, um, but I'm also still learning. And healing isn't a destination; it's a lifelong journey. And that's something that I have to remind myself. Like it's not gonna happen overnight. Like I'm gonna have good days. I'm not gonna have not so good days. And every day I choose peace over my bitterness. And every day I choose my faith over fear. And every day I choose to heal. You know.
Absolutely. And I'm with you on that. It is a journey and it's been a long journey, right? And it took years what for those people to inflict all of that damage. And it wasn't until recently, just within the last few years, I would say, that I really started to just that I feel like God just started opening my eyes and just seeing things differently. I started instead of just believing the lies that the people that I, grew up with, the bad foster parents and placements, believing all the things that they said about me. I
Mhm.
had to learn what does God say about me in His Word, right? And I had, and that was tough too because you're talking about again, these are people who were claiming Jesus. Some of them were actually using the Bible itself to solidify, their abuse and like why they were, why it was okay for them to do what they were doing to me. So that was difficult too.
Yeah.
And it took a while to just realize that, but one thing that I've learned is that, and I actually figured out, I understand what that verse means in the Bible verse in the Bible that, no weapon formed against you should prosper. And I realized now, wait, the enemy was using those people. The enemy was using those people to destroy me, because before I even got to my 18th birthday, I went through lots of suicidal thoughts and attempts. He tried to take me out. So I literally felt, this small by the time I, left the system. So these people I feel like were like, it was like the devil was using these people as his minions. And something
Mhm.
that I kind of struggled with was, that these people never faced prosecution or anything. It's like, did they ever get in trouble with
Yeah.
anyone? So that's another journey of healing. I just have to trust that God took care of them because, as far as I know, they never got in trouble with the law for all the things that they did, despite any trips to the emergency room or any outcries made or anything. So I have to, that's another, part of the healing journey, just having to trust God that He took care of
That he's
those
gonna take it
people.
up. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Just give it to him. And that's something that I've had to accept as well. It's like I can't be the one that like inflicts like pain of any sort on them. I have to just give it to God and just let him deal with him how he's gonna deal with them. And for me to just go on with my life and continue to live how I choose to. But even like when we talk about healing, this, what we're doing, it's healing for me. Us
Right.
sharing our story is
Mm-hmm.
healing for me. You know, this is very therapeutic for me.
Right.
Like I absolutely love this, being so vulnerable and sharing my story just with strangers, or
Mm-hmm.
people that we know, because like we said earlier when we opened up, people don't talk about the things that we plan to talk about on Let's Talk Sister to Sister. And
Right.
that's what makes us, and that's what's going to make us so unique. I,
Mm-hmm.
I think, and
Mm-hmm.
just because having these conversations that need to be had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, when it comes to healing, like you just have to be the one to choose it. Um, forgiveness doesn't mean what happened to you is okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that you have to allow those people back in your life. Um,
Right.
Forgiveness just simply means that you're refusing to let your pain take over your future. And that's what we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you and I, for with Let's Talk Sister to Sister, like that's what we're doing. Healing
Mm-hmm.
takes time and faith takes courage. And both of those things are possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Um, so, we just got to keep believing and keep healing.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I'm hoping that just us sharing will also help inspire others to take that journey of healing. It's easy to leave the system and kind of stuff everything down and not really deal with what's
yeah,
going on. I did that for a long time. I was just kind of just going about and I thought I was doing well. I was going to college. I was, finishing college. I was making friends, but I had never really stopped and dealt with that self hate, the self abuse. I had never stopped and dealt with the fact that I was still internalizing everything that had been done to me and had been said to me. And so that didn't come until much later. And so I'm glad that I've taken that opportunity that I've, started that journey of healing, via counseling, journaling. I love to journal. That was, that's something that's helped me journaling, just really getting into the nitty gritty and just really facing it and just being honest with myself because, I wasn't even being honest with myself. So I
right.
think this is really therapeutic and just being honest with yourself too.
Yep, yep, yep. Exactly, exactly. So I think that I think, like you said, like like we both said, like it's very therapeutic, and you never know who's listening
Hmm.
on the other side, and how much our messages, our story will
Hmm.
inspire them to do the same. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And just I too have had years of just stuffing everything
Hmm.
down and just
Mhm,
be like, oh yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay because I'm in my
mhm.
routine of going to work, going to school, taking care of the
Right,
kids, doing everything.
right,
So I don't
right.
have time to think about it. But also, you have I had to learn to listen to my body. Why am I
Mhm,
having all these headaches? I'm saying
mhm,
I'm fine, but am I really fine? You know what I mean? Um,
mhm,
I'm losing weight. I'm not eating. But I'm telling everybody I'm good. I
mhm,
don't need anything. I'm fine. But again, I, I was in those beginning stages of healing.
mhm,
So like I said, healing takes time and you have to be patient with it.
mhm.
And, we're going to get through it. And if you have, the faith aspect of it too,
Yes.
those two things go hand in hand. So,
Yeah, seeking God for yourself, that has really helped me because I mean I had to relearn everything. I
right.
had this idea of God of being like someone who was sadistic and just looking to strike me down at any moment or punish me for every little thing because that's what I experienced. That's what I experienced from the people who were supposed to be the hands and feet of Jesus, right, in these foster homes. So that was my idea of who God was. So it really took just my own personal journey of learning who He was for myself. And during this time, like it's still ongoing, but I'm
Mhm.
able to see like how He has really, taken me through everything. I was very angry and had a lot of hatred for my bio parents after leaving the system. And I was in the system for so long, longer than most people, right? I was in there for 15 years, pretty much my whole life. But you know what? I realized that in order for me to experience every aspect of the foster care system, I had to be in there that long.
Mm.
So, like, and I did. I experienced every aspect of the system, every scenario, every placement, you name it, I experienced it.
Wow.
And so, but now, God can use that and to help others who are going through the same thing, educate others, speak to others, inspire others who may be going through the same thing or who may not really know what life in the system is for other youth that are currently dealing with it right now.
Mhm. Mhm. Exactly. And again, that just uh you said it again, like that's why we decided to do Let's Talk Sister to Sister, you know, just so that we can encourage others and educate others um through our journey.
Right.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. This has been an amazing episode.
Yeah.
We got pretty deep and we opened up, and you
Mhm.
guys just keep coming back because we're gonna keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And so yeah, I'm so excited. This was another great episode.
Yes, so please stay tuned. We will have new episodes every Sunday. We're also going to be kicking off we'll still continue to do this healing series. We still have about 4 more episodes of this, so we'll still do these live. But we also have some episodes coming where we're going to get into another aspect of the system, which is adoption. And we're going to get into our stories of adoption and kinship placement and what that looks like and how that looks like overall in the system as well. So please follow us. Let's Talk Sister to Sister. We're on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram and Rumble. Did I miss anything, Nikki?
Facebook.
Facebook, yes, we're on Facebook as well. So please, please plug in. Let's Talk Sister to Sister on all those
Yes,
platforms
yes. Please go like and follow us.
and
Um,
subscribe. So check out our new
yes.
episodes as well.
Yes, and we have clips from our previous live posted on there as well, so you guys can listen to some of those clips. But we just appreciate you guys so much for coming and spending this evening with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
You see, you and me were meant to be, oh baby. And there's nothing left to say. Can't you see what you do to me? I know I'm meant to be. You are me, oh yeah. Oh baby, can't you see what you do to me? I know I'm meant to be. You are me, oh yeah.
Papa, just keep me laced up. Vanilla Tracy, Caesar Bugatti, Isaac Mizrahi. Around the Dolce, Gabbana sipping pure J with the ill nana. Yes, you up around. I had your loyalties in your joint. You'll get your royalties and your points. So what the deal is? But Foxy Brown met Case. Now we lace Bonnie met Clyde. Now I'm up in Jamaica breaking all your paper.
You're the only one for me. You're the only one I need. Can nobody make me feel the way you're making me feel? And girl, you know that love is real. Yeah. Touch me, seize me, feel me and caress. Tease me, hold on tight, don't let go. Baby, I'm about to is why